Hi.
Hi guys,
Hi,
we are
Instagram.
back again.
Hi Instagram.
Hi Instagram, and hi Facebook. Okay, it's definitely great to have all of you guys here.
Yeah.
Exciting
So,
times.
So over the weekend we did polls to see whether you guys are interested in a Q&A for content strategy or brand building, and so happened that a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook chose content strategy.
Yeah.
So today we have like a few questions. So who's on Instagram?
Give me a second to just check who is on Instagram right now.
Yeah,
Oh, hi Fion.
Fion. Hi, we are doing live. So exciting to do live.
Yeah, exciting time.
Hi Felicia. Yes, Felicia, we have one
Yes.
question from you.
Yes.
Amazing.
Hi Peony. Okay.
Yeah, great.
So how should we give it a little bit more time before we start?
So in terms of content is, for me, content is very important when it comes to digital marketing, because everything is built on content. When you come up with your ads, or when you build your brand, or when you do SEO, there's content. But today most of our questions will surround content and some social media, so it'll be very interesting. It's a big part of digital marketing. So when we teach the digital marketing product launch bootcamp, which comes out in May, we also start with content creation. You need to know how to create content, to tell your brand story, and eventually, do ads on it.
I think content is all about giving value to people, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to create a content with no value, oh my goodness, like what's the point of creating content in the first place? Yeah. So definitely excited to see a lot of all these questions. Very good questions, in fact. Should we start?
Anyone else on?
There's Silver
Ray. Okay, cool.
Chef P. Hi, Chef P. Hi, Harvey.
Hi. We need to say hi to Instagram. Hi,
guys. Sorry, we are looking from here.
And invite your friends. So on Facebook, on Instagram, please do invite your friends to join, or maybe watch this after it's live. So today we're gonna go through about 10 questions. And so hope you get the value out of this for content. And there are about 8 people, about more people coming in from Facebook. So amazing stuff. So we're gonna start answering the first question.
Okay.
So the first question is from Louise Lim. So Louise Lim asks, define content strategy. So Audrey, can you tell us how do we sort of define content strategy? It's a term that came out not too long ago. Content has been around for a long time, but as a marketer, how do we define content strategy?
I think for me it's very simple. When it comes to content, it's all about creating value. And when you're creating value, you need to think about your customer avatar. You just think about how their journey is like, right? Because for example, if my customer avatar is someone who, someone who is probably getting married, okay? So they have a journey. It really depends on how what am I offering and what journey I'm trying to look into. Is this person just got engaged, or is this person looking for a wedding band? You see, there is a lot of a journey for them to move on from someone who's preparing for their wedding to the point of time where they're getting married. And even after they get married, let's just say if I am a jewelry company, I would want to think about their anniversary and so on and so forth. So there is a journey altogether. So I think when it comes to content strategy, I think that's something you need to look into.
For me, content strategy is quite a big thing. So it involves around, when I do my brand planning, it involves from the creation to the scheduling to the planning of the distribution of the content. So it also involves the resources that you have, how big is your team. So if your team is it depends on your capabilities, so we come up with a content strategy first of all to achieve your marketing objectives. For our next academy, our objectives are of course to get more students for our bootcamps. So it's all about how you tie in to your objectives and how you manage your resources, and also how are you going to plan from creation to publication to distribution. So strategy involves a lot of things, and later we'll go on to distribution. So you need to know what is the timeline when it comes to creation, from creation to distribution. So you manage sort of your resources to see how are you going to achieve your objectives.
Yeah.
So I think that in a nutshell, is content strategy. So align your content capabilities to your to your objectives.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Teo also asked, what is the best approach when it comes to developing content strategy? Just like what both of us just said, I think that pretty much answers that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely thinking about whatever your in your company, what resources do you guys have, and also think from a customer journey point of view.
Yeah. Customer journey point of view, just to elaborate, is you want to first introduce what are the benefits of the product, to introduce your brand. So there's content is so broad that you can create content out of anything.
Yeah.
So the best approach, in my point of view, because I work with a lot of companies who are starting up, is you need to be very practical when it comes to your resources. So later we'll tell you how to create content, but it all, like, if you have like a 10-person team to a 3-person team,
it's very different.
Yeah,
right? It's very different.
Very different approaches when it comes to your content distribution and also your creation of your content.
Yeah. All right. I think this pretty much just answers it. If you guys have even more questions, feel free to post up more of these questions, because we can add them in as well.
Yeah.
But now let's move on to the second question. So Anna Adnin asked, when is the best time to run content audit, and what are the best type of content?
Okay, so first questions first. What are the best types of content? So according to, I think there's a slide, I think I can put a slide later, it's from the slides from VR Social. Yeah. So basically there are 4 types of content. So the first type is information. So if you for next academy is the next intake, if you're having a sale, where is your store? What is your location? So that is information. Secondly, we have inspiration. So you from time to time we have quotes, you have inspirational quotes, you have statistics or whatever is inspiration. Thirdly, we have educational education. So sometimes people give a guidebook, you give a hack, or you give people some sort of guide to that's more in the information. I think the 4th type. So yeah, this basically 4 types of content.
Yeah.
What are the best types of content? Basically, is based on your objectives. So. And then the 4th type, sorry, I forgot the 4th type. Another type of content that you see, especially when it comes to advertising, is entertainment. So sometimes you get influencers to do music videos, sometimes you get influencers to do like funny content that falls under entertainment. So unfortunately, not unfortunately, but a lot of content out there that has a lot of traction is, of course, entertainment. You have things like MGAG, SGAG, it's a lot of entertainment out there. So it's how you weave, education into entertainment.
Yeah.
That's the best sweet spot when it comes to content. Anything else to add?
I think these are 4 different types of content, but of course the medium that you use, it can be all sorts of stuff, right? For example, you could probably just post it on social media. You could be doing video on YouTube. You could be doing SEO centric content, or you can be doing non-SEO centric content, or you can even create it into an ebook. So there are many different ways of sharing your content. I think one key thing, by the end of the day, one key thing that you guys need to pay attention to is the objectives. Don't just create content for no reason, but create content because why? I want to engage the people in my group. Or create content why? Because I want people to know more about to set us up as an authority leader, right? So a lot of all these things, whatever you're doing, whatever content you're doing, don't do it with a purpose. I think that's the thing. Do it with a purpose.
Okay. And one more, I think, sometimes when I teach the digital marketing product launch bootcamp, I say the sweet spot when it comes to content is you tell people what your product is, and also you need to know what people are interested in. So the sweet spot, that's why you do your research, is you know what people want to know, and then you tie in how your product helps them. So that is the sweet spot between the two circles. The sweet spot is what you want to tell people and what people want. So that's the sweet spot when it comes to content. So let's move on to the next questions again by Anna. Is like, what is the best time to run a content audit? So first, you need to explain what's the content audit.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to take that or I take that?
You use.
Okay. I think content audit is really, when we run content audit, especially for SEO related content, we will actually use a system like something like Screaming Frog or whatnot to see what are the things that we have written so far. You know, at the same time, you know, what are the keywords that we have, and you know, tools like RF will also be able to tell you how are these content ranking, right? Some of these tools are really powerful to help you see if all this content actually provides, if all these contents are you know, being out there in Google on search. But at the same time, you can also do a content audit to make sure that, hey, you know, you have, let's say 100 pieces of content. Is that things that needs to be updated? Are this content conflicting with one another as well? Sometimes you need to look through that. So I think how often you want to run content audit.
I think if you mean content audit in terms of social media, you could possibly run it every month. So what you do during a content audit is you see what are the content that gets the most traction. So the ones that gets the most shares and the most likes. So you can make a sort of a calculated assumption that these are the content that the audience likes. That's why you do a content audit. Secondly, when you do a content audit, is before you do a content audit, just now we talk about content strategy, you actually set the objectives. So, you know, if you said that 1 month, we want to have like 10 video content or 5 articles. So at the end of the month, besides looking at the engagement and the shareability, you also look at whether or not you hit your objectives. So all that counts after you set a very proper content strategy.
Exactly. I think just to really recap, right? When we're talking about content, there are two sorts of content. One is, you know, content that's happening on social media. One is, you know, content like organic content, like the one that I just spoke about, SEO centric content, right? So I think when it comes to audit, just like what he said, when if it's content on social media, what you want to see is how are the people engaging. What you want to be able to spot, what are the things that people seem to like, right, in your page or in your group, you know, or in your Instagram or whatnot, right? When it comes to SEO, you want to, when it comes to SEO centric content, you need to start seeing things like that keeps, you know, the Google crawler in mind as well a little bit, to see if they are up there where you want it to be. You know, are they appearing on, let's just say, the first page, for example? So different content on different platforms, you need to see it differently.
Cool. I think one of the cool places to check out whether your SEO content works or not is on your search console. So you see, you know, top performing posts or top performing keywords during the month. So let's move on to the third question. So
I think for the next question, I think Fa so Fa asked how to start creating content.
So I think I talked about this before with someone from Dallas. So how to start creating content, it all depends on your strength. So some people are very good at writing. Some are very good just talking to a camera like this. Some are very, very good, you know, in
creating
design.
Videos,
design, creating graphics. So how to start creating? Actually, there's no sweet spot. It's just start. Just start and start from what you are good at. So if you are, especially if your question is like how to start, if you are, just now we talked about your resources. If you are a 1-person team or a 2-person team, of course, leverage on your strength. If you are very good at writing, so get a whole team to create a lot of written content. So so that's my point of view. How do you normally
I think there is 2 parts to it, right? Like just like what you said, one part is where you leverage on your strengths, right? That's one easy way for you to start off straight away. But at the same time, you look at the platforms these days, and I think like right now, 2019, video seems to be one thing that's going crazy. And why? Because Facebook, let's just take Facebook for example. They're giving a lot of attention to videos, to live broadcasts, and because of that, you might also want to shift your content strategy to be a little bit to look into live related stuff as well as videos, right? So I think when you want to start creating content, the easiest way is to always start off with something that you're strong at, right? But at the same time, keep in mind what all these platforms are emphasizing right now. It's not that they are penalizing other forms of content. It's just that they're emphasizing on certain forms of content. So for you, I think like what you say, start off with something that you think that you're good with. Secondly is let's just pay attention to what is in trend right now.
Third thing I want to add to that, the reason why I say start with something that you're strong with is nowadays you can actually repurpose the content. So imagine you are this live, we are talking right now, so we'll probably cut this video and put it into many parts, put it on LinkedIn, put it wherever. So secondly, if we start creating a lot of videos, we can also transcribe the videos so that it can be, if we rewrite it can be text content. So that's called repurposing. Thirdly, if we strip out the audio, then it can be podcast. So one, from creating what you are strong at, you can get someone to repurpose it into different forms. So start creating whatever you can. So if, for example, you're good at writing, so once you've written a bunch of articles, then you should sit down, hey, maybe we can put the article onto Lumen 5, which is a free, shout out to Lumen 5, which is a free video creation application where you put in your blog articles and it will turn into videos. So once you start creating content, there's always a lot of ways to repurpose it.
I think I see one question over here by Patrick. Patrick asks, what is your opinion for content marketing with social apps or video marketing is better? Okay, I'm trying to understand the question a little bit, but what I'm guessing you're trying to say is I'm guessing is how is video marketing like? I think just now we spoke about it already. When it comes to a lot of social media these days, they are emphasizing on live broadcasts. They are emphasizing on videos. So, and also not just that, I guess when it comes to videos, videos need to be with text, right? People like to consume videos, sometimes not without sound. They just like to read the text. So those things capture attention. So one of those key things, you can definitely keep a lookout for those things. So
just to, I'm not too sure about the breadth, the length of this question, but if you're talking about video marketing, so social apps, I assume is Instagram, Facebook, and maybe TikTok, maybe. So all these video social apps actually do a lot of video. So what you can do, like just now we talked about how to create content. You can create this one piece of content and then you can put it on different social apps. So but just be in mind that like TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook are very different platforms. So just be in mind like what sort of content you're putting on different platforms.
Okay. So I think the fourth question is done. Let's just take a look at the fifth question. The fifth question is by Jade. Jade, how much content is too much content, and how can content be managed not to overwhelm the users? Very good question. I really like that.
That is a very good question. So as a brand, sometimes you think, oh, how much content is too much content? So among the famous brands, of all the very good brands, they actually create a lot of content all the time, especially on Instagram. To leverage on the algorithm, you actually need to post multiple times per day to leverage the algorithm. So how much content is too much content? Is too much content, I don't think because of the frequency. What I think is it's too much content if it's too repetitive or it's too similar. But it's when you look at the same content all the time, if it's similar, even with the similar background, people will think it's the same content.
I think for me, when it comes to how much content is too much content? Sometimes people ask in a few ways, right? Let's just talk first about platforms like Instagram. To leverage on the algorithm, you need to have quite a number of content. Like people post like multiple times a day, right? Not just stories, and posts and stories, both of them. And then when it comes to Facebook pages, right? These days when it comes to Facebook pages, less is more, right? Because there are so many businesses that's popping out. Everyone is creating a new page every day. So, and every one of us probably I think I have easily like 50 to 100 pages that I follow. So I can't be receiving multiple content from each of them every day. So what Facebook is doing is that they are reducing the number of reach for Facebook pages, and they pretty much say this. If you want to ever use content, organic reach is falling really drastically for Facebook pages. So what you can do is to actually make sure that the content you put out is very valuable. And that would be the best. So for Instagram, I will post a lot of stuff, but for Facebook, I will post selectively. So I think that's in terms of platform. I think in terms of when it comes to SEO and writing, right?
Yes, the more the better.
The more the better. 2,000 words, 3,000 words, 4,000 words. But I think regardless what, there's no such thing as too much content if you're really giving value. If people think that you're giving value, I mean, people will say, "Oh, this is good content."
So I just an example. There's quite a famous influencer, called Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes. Okay.
So he posts like so many times on Facebook and so many times on Instagram. But what you can see, every single post in the same day is very, very different because he creates a lot of content. And how he does it is, back to content strategy. He switches it around. He has one video on Q&A, next video on him talking, third video is a quote, and he mixes it around throughout the day. But he does, because he's so aggressive, he does post 6 to 8 times per day. But the way he does it is he makes up the types of content. So that's one way if you want to post a lot of content. So that's question 5. So thanks, Jake, for the question. So let's move on to question 6. Weak.lie. So what are some of the areas you look in to determine which social media platform to use? A great question, and a question related to what we spoke about just now. So Audrey wants your input?
Okay, so what social media platform to use? I think this is really interesting. There are a few ways to look at it. So there are some tools like something called BuzzSumo. I think it's called BuzzSumo, where you can just put in the topic that you want to talk about, and you want to see which platform seem to actually on which platform this topic seem to get a lot of shares and likes and interaction. So that's one way to look at it. And another way is, recently I spoke to MGAG, and I love what he replied me. He just said that different social media platforms have different types of people. Instagram, the people there are younger, below, I think 18 up to maybe, let's say 25, 6, I don't know, right? But on Facebook, the people there are slightly older. And so when they actually choose the social media to post, they actually said, okay, when it comes to politics related stuff, I will actually post it on Facebook. But when it comes to really entertainment, the most in-trend things, I'll post it on Instagram. And sometimes they don't overlap them. And I think this is a really good strategy that not a lot of people use, because everyone just wants to dump it everywhere. But I like the strategy that they actually shared.
Yeah, great stuff. So for me, it's the amount of research you can do. You can use like social media tools. When it comes to social media content, of course, you can use social media research tools like Talkwalker or whatever, and you can see where your audience are. When your audience are on, if let's say you are a skincare brand, and all your audience, most of your audience are female on Instagram, of course be on Instagram and maybe Facebook. But if you are like a B2B business, you are selling software, B2B, you're selling security solutions, so then you have to be on LinkedIn. So it's based on what platforms you are. Sometimes we go on Quora, because that's the platform where people ask a lot of questions. So if it depends on your brand or your product, what sort of what type of content you put out. If you put out more educational content, you should be on LinkedIn. And if you put out like more aesthetic content, more graphics, images than be on Instagram.
Yep.
So also be in mind when you're on different platforms, like Audrey just said, we call it like the language of the room. So when you go into a different room in a party, it's different language. When you're on Facebook, you talk in a different way. When you are going onto LinkedIn, you talk about business. When you go to Snapchat or you go on TikTok, it's a very different, fast way to communicate. So which social media platform, how do you determine? Is based on the audience and based on your objectives. Basically, that's about it.
Yeah, very simple. Okay, the next question would be by Hazif Zafri.
Haziq.
Okay, so how do you create meaningful content that akin to a method of storytelling? All right.
Yeah.
Do you want me to take this?
I
can take this. Okay. So recently I came across something called the storytelling canvas, and I really liked it. Right. So but what the canvas does is actually help you frame your thought process. So the first thing they ask is, what's the subject, right? What's the story about? The second part is, what is the objective? What's your goal? The third one is, who's the audience? And then the fourth one is the before and after state, meaning before the person read your article or watch your video, what are they thinking? How are they feeling, right? And then after they read and watch your videos or whatever, what do you want them to feel? How should they be feeling after they read it? So when you have that two before and after state, it's a lot easier for you to frame your story. So obviously your story would be, you set the scene, then what is the aha moment, and then obviously what's the conclusion, right? So I think I love this storytelling concept because it is applicable to every single thing, right? Every medium that you're using, every content you're creating, there is a story to tell. There's an objective. There's a goal. There is a before state that people are having, that after they read your things, they watch your stuff, after they do that, they should be at a different state of mind. And I think, definitely use this storytelling canvas. I think it's a very good framework.
Me personally, as a marketer, every time I do a storytelling, this is for marketing purposes. So I always try to empathize with the consumer. I try to understand their problems. I try to propose a solution, like you said, after, and I also try to understand how they want to achieve that solution. So every time when I create content for my clients or create content for to get new customers, what I do is, you need to, the best storytelling is when you talk to the consumer. So when we have an ad, to students, we need to have a video that is catered to students. We need to tell the story in a way that, I'm a student, this is what I identify with. So the best storytelling is when you identify, with the audience that you're talking to, whether it's business people or students or, just people generally working. So the best ways of telling a storytelling, this is from my background in advertising, is you need to actually understand your consumer. So whether it is, if like that, why are, ads from Thailand so amazing? So the thing is, because the creators of Thailand ads, they really understand the common man. They go down, so all the stories are about the common man on the streets, the person waking up 6 a.m. in the morning and going to work. So the way that the story tell really speaks to the average human being in Thailand and touches the heart. So to get those insights, back in my advertising days, we actually go and take the KTM, we go and talk to people, we take a video camera and talk to different people. So that's how you get a good story for your brand. You really need to go down to your consumers and dig up the insights.
Know what are their hopes and dreams, right? Know what is their fears, know what's the pain, know what is stopping them from becoming what they want to be. And I think you can answer those questions. That'll be pretty much it.
So I think there are some questions on Facebook. How can we start? Okay, we said how to start with creating content. Okay,
I think
we just say hi. Hi Jamil first. Hi Jamil and Himal, and hi everyone on Facebook. Hi again on Instagram. So I think we can move on to the next question.
I think for Jamil, if you actually rewatched the video just now, we already answered that question, so you can go check it out.
How to start creating content. So the next question, and very important question, is
by who? By Mr. Diriku.
Mr. Diriku. So he asked the question, what is the cost of creating content?
Why did you pick it?
So the cost of creating content. That's why we go with your strengths. So just now, and just to recap for Himal. So just now we said, start with your strengths. Whether you're good at writing, you're good at doing videos, start with your strengths. Why? Also because of the cost. So if you are yourself as a business owner, or you are the head of a marketing team, and you have limited resources. So when you are creating content from your strengths, for example, writing or doing videos, then you will save costs. If you are creating, you started out and you say, oh, I want to create a massive blockbuster advertising, then it will cost a lot. So what is the cost of creating content? There are a lot of free tools out there, and I just mentioned Lumen 5. But the cost of creating content is just
your time
and maybe some resources if you want to make a video, but there are a lot of free options out there. There is no fixed cost, but it all depends on the time. That's why we say go with your strengths, because that's where it's very efficient when it comes to time.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree with him. Cost of creating content is your time, and you might think that your time is free. It's not, right? So think about it, right? How much time you're going to spend on this article? All the tools that you use might be free, okay? There's a lot of free tools out there. But for you, right? Let's just say this article is going to spend 5 hours of your time, and you just calculate it, right? Based on your salary, yada, yada, yada. And you just back calculate and say, hey, basically I'm going to be spending, say, let's say $500, right? To create this content based on my time alone. Then you ask yourself the next question: if we're going to pay someone else, let's just say, and someone else could, do it less with less money, less money lah. Basically, maybe you're exactly paying them, right? Then, but at the same time, you could save your time and then spend your time with something else. Then you can make the decision. If not, just like what Bob said, when you start off with your strengths, then in other words, you should be able to create content a lot faster. Yeah. And if you're able to create content a lot faster, you can back calculate it. I'm going to spend this amount of time over here, and this is how much, essentially my time will be worth. Then over there you have a good idea how much is it you spend.
So the main cost here, as we talk, is your time, because as a business owner or a marketer, it's opportunity cost. So if I spend time creating this piece of content, I can be also doing other things which will mean more to the business.
Yes.
Exactly. So, like, just to give an example, because I love, there's this book that just came out called How to Be a Capitalist Without Any Capital. It's a great book. So how the authors wrote the book was he actually did the audio book first, which is very unconventional, because he knew, like myself, he was a very good podcaster, very good at speaking. So what he did was he actually created the audio version talking first, and then he hired someone else to write the book. So the person that wrote the book actually was just transcribing and making his words into points. So it's all about the efficiency of time and also the efficiency of money, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
So next question from Fauzan. Fauzan is it's a top fan. So Fauzan on Instagram, from Instagram. So he asked about content strategy for email marketing.
Okay. I think when it comes to email marketing, yes, you definitely would want to think about just like what we say, right? When you take someone's email, when someone gives you an email, they don't want you to spam them. They want you to give them value. So you need to think about what value can you actually give them. I mean, I've one email who sent this person, I can't remember what it's called. They'll send me email almost every 2 days, 3 days. It's crazy. It just, gives me a bunch of emails in my email box, but I've never deleted them, right? Because all of them, I know that if it's from him, it's valuable. It's just a matter if I will read it or not. Most of the time, I don't read it, but I still keep them. But for some of them, for example, sometimes Lazada deals come along and things like this, and then when I look at them, yes, even though those things might give value to me, but I would just throw them straight to spam, right? So when it comes to email marketing, think about what value do people really need, and then from your content, you look at it and say, hey, would this content be able to help them right now? And also think about the customer journey, right? If you're emailing them at different part of their customer journey, your content should be related to their customer journey.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. So I think I want to shout out to my friend Janet Kun for this one. So Janet actually taught me about a lot of things about email marketing. So she said email marketing is about building relationship, not sales. But sometimes we do use it for sales.
Yeah.
So a lot of good newsletters that I personally. So you have to ask yourself when you create content for email marketing, what type of emails do you like to open? Myself, my favorite emails come from Tim Ferriss. So Tim Ferriss does this thing called 5 Bullet Fridays. So on Fridays, he will share, these are my 5 favorite things. Like these are the 5 favorite things I learned this week.
And you look forward to it, right?
So yes, you do have to send some emails, to be a bit salesy once in a while. But if you really want to make your email list work, or you really want to have a very engaged email list, is by providing value, whether it's once in a while telling a story or once in a while giving them tips.
Yes.
So that's how you create content for email. Ask yourself, what sort of emails do you like to open?
And what sort of emails do you hate and you'll throw to spam? Don't send those emails.
Yeah, potentially the last question is great question. I think Felicia, she's on Instagram.
Hi
Felicia. So this is Felicia's question. How can content be measured, and do you have measurement metrics that are universally accepted?
I love this question. So I think how can content be measured? I think we say that there are a few ways to look at, when you measure content, right? For example, just like what we say, if you post it on social media, how engaged they are, right? How people are engaging with your content, or if it's SEO related, is it appearing? Let's just say, is it appearing at the pages that you want? Where is it appearing? How many backlinks are there to this page? But at the same time, the third one would be conversion on the content, right? If you create this content, of course you would want some level of conversions. Like, we write this content, and suddenly people will, maybe put in as become a sign up, become a lead on your email list on this content. Then you can calculate, this content compared to other contents, this click-through rate, this content has a highest generate the highest amount of leads. So I think there are these 3 ways. Off my head, there are these 3 ways of you actually measuring content. And I think what are the metrics? Just as I just mentioned, when it comes to engagement, you can just check, how engaged are people on social media. When it comes to SEO related content, measurement metrics, you want to see backlinks, you want to see SERP, right? I think that's number 2, and then number 3, when it comes to the third one, when we talk about conversion, you can calculate it based on conversion, like based on how many leads you get, or maybe your conversion is based on how many clicks. Then you need to be able to track those things, right? So key thing is that the third one, when it comes to conversion, you need to make sure you set up your tracking properly and attribute it back to the right content pieces that you have created.
Cool. In terms of SEO, I think you can go to. I want to shout out to where I learned digital marketing, so you can go, and Neil Patel says this all the time. So go to BuzzSumo. So when I create, go back to content strategy. When I create a content, I always try to create something that people will share. So one way to check if it's a text content where people share it is through a tool. I think sometimes it's free, sometimes you pay for better version. It's BuzzSumo, so you check where your content is shared. And then in terms of social media, like if you are an SGAG or MGAG, you of course see the amount of shares and the amount of views. So it's not too much a metric. It goes by, if you are just a content creator, it goes just by views and also by shares. But in terms of SEO, you always look at where people are sharing it. Is it a reputable site sharing your article? Is it some influencer sharing your article? And also, like Audrey said, sometimes when we create content, we can run it a little bit as an ad, like an engagement ad. So just put in the right UTM codes or right tracking, and then you will know whether this content converts or whether this content drives traffic to your site. So basically that's our 10 questions that we got from Instagram. Thanks for participating. We'll do another one in 2 weeks. So when we post it up on Instagram, please do put in your questions. Any questions from Instagram?
No questions.
No questions.
One key thing, guys, right? If you guys want to be alerted on the things that we are doing over here, do check out do subscribe to us on Instagram,
Yeah.
right? Next Academy _. You can also join us on our Facebook group, which is called Next Digital Marketing Lab. You can also drop by, join us at our Facebook page as well, Next Academy Facebook page, and from there you make sure that you get your notification. Make sure that you choose, I want to be alerted. So we'll be having more of all these sessions, and not just that, we actually do interview a lot of people.
Yeah, and
looking forward to that.
the reason why we are doing this is because we want the interaction. We want to really answer your burning questions.
Yes.
So do PM us or DM or PM us or go and message us on Instagram or go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Ask us questions or participate in our polls. So we'll be answering them very soon. And if you really want to ask specific questions to digital marketing experts, if, for example, you have an SEO question and you want to ask an SEO expert, you can come to on May 2nd we have a digital marketing product launch bootcamp.
Yes.
So it's a part-time course every Thursdays and Saturdays. So what we do in 5 weeks is actually we have a product for our bootcamp campers to sell.
Yeah.
So we the last time we had some motorsports gear for our campers to sell. So you actually learn how to actually apply and also how to practice what you learn in terms of digital marketing. So do come to our bootcamp, enroll for a bootcamp if you want to speak to someone who is very deep into their field of digital marketing.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Looking forward to have all of you guys with us again. Thank you so much for spending time, and thank you so much for asking those questions. Really love it.
Do share this video. So
yes.
I know this is live, but you can share the post live version with your friends.
Yes.
So thanks so much for being live here. I think we're gonna go off air very soon.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Instagram.
Bye.